Hello and welcome to Series 3 of Simply Holistic Living. I'm really excited to bring this series to you. In the 4 episodes, we explore how we can live a richer life, expressing who we really are. I've some amazing guests and I'm grateful for their wisdom and inspiration. Our podcast is sponsored by Julie Clark Candles and Merview Natural Skincare. Enjoy. Welcome to episode 1 of this series. I am thrilled to bring you a very special guest, Dr Gladys McGarey, author of The Well-Lived Life, a 102-year-old doctor's 6 secrets to health and happiness in every age. Dr Gladys is still practising medicine and is internationally recognised as the mother of holistic medicine. She lives and works in Scottsdale, Arizona. She's full of wisdom and inspiration from her long life and experience. I just loved my conversation with Dr. Gladys. It was special and I just know you will love it too. I am so honoured to have you on my podcast, Dr. Gladys. I have read and reread your book, The Well-Lived Life, and it has, I just have to say, it so inspired me. So many things in it has inspired me, and I just want to say thank you, first of all.
Well, thank you for the candles.
Hey, you're okay, you got them. It's great.
Yes, we got them.
Great.
All across the ocean they came.
Yay! You're very welcome. I've so many questions to ask you, but
all right.
Okay, so there were things that struck me that stop fighting life, stop fighting and life being a teacher. The things that happened, they were the kind of, I was underlining so many things, but those 2 things just really kind of struck me. I was looking at the 6 secrets that you outline in your chapters and
yes.
Finding your juice and your purpose and stop fighting. And how do you, if somebody is stuck, how do they find that juice and purpose if they're feeling stuck?
Well, if you recognize the fact that you're stuck, and then you start looking for how to fix it, it will come to you. The problem is if we accept the fact that we're stuck and we think that we're stuck forever, and no matter how much we look, we're not going to find it, and we start running around in that circle, it's like the little girl with a jump rope. You're not going to get any place. You're just going to be jumping over it. If you accept the fact that you're stuck and then seriously start looking for the way out, it'll begin to come for you. It's sort of like you've got this stuck package on your shoulder and you're looking over your head all the time to see that it's there. You're going to get your neck stuck and you're not going to be able to pull it forward. It's going to change when you move your neck forward and start looking at the opposite side where the light is. So you, instead of looking at what it is that you're stuck in, that. That you're good at knowing that. Now we start looking for, and you ask your friends to help you. You start looking for the friends that can help you. Lots of times we have friends who just keep on getting us stucker and stucker. And if you got some friends like that, be a little cautious of that and start looking for the friends who are helping you move forward so that you can see the things. And do you have any grandchildren?
No.
Do you have any children around?
Don't have any children, no. But I have lots of nieces and nephews, and yeah.
Oh, Grace, look for the people that give you joy.
Yeah.
Look for the people who pull you out of your stuckness.
Yes. Yeah, so it's really about where we're giving our attention, is what you're saying.
That's right.
Okay.
And what's important to us? The whole thing that my mother taught my sister and me about kuchparwane, which means it doesn't matter. There are many, many things in life which come to us, and they come and they hurt us, and we take them in and we say, oh, that hurts, and we hang on to those. A lot of times those things are the things that you can just take in your hand and say, oh, in Hindustani it's kuch parwane, in English it doesn't matter, and you say, oh, it just doesn't matter, and you let them drop. And you don't need to carry those things around all the time. It's a matter of, sometimes a person is raised in a family where your faults are pointed out to you all the time. And if that's the way it is, let's change that. Let's change that to where you're good for look what you can do. Yeah. And you start singing the little stupid songs and stuff that little kids know, like mares eat oats and does eat oats and little lambs eat ivy, or whatever, some useless stuff that just gets the juice going in you. Start finding the things that get that started. And once it gets started, you just keep working with it.
Yeah, so it's a bit like baking or something. You just get it going, you get it moving.
Yes.
And you'll have a beautiful, beautiful loaf. It's getting that energy, that life. You talk about life force and connecting to our life force.
Right. And it's like what's happening with the Olympics, They have to get those going. Get the things out of the way and clean the air out and all that. And there's a lot of work that goes into it. But the purpose is to get the movement going. So it starts to go, and there they are, the Olympics.
Yes.
It's just... it's kind of fun that right now that's what's happening.
Yes.
And you could step right in with it.
Yeah. And it's kind of coming back to all that, all life. You talk about all life is movement, or that's what we need once we access the juice, about moving. How can somebody, so if they start paying less attention to being stuck, is that then where we start to move? What's that starting point?
Yes. Start to move find what's not stuck. You're well aware of what's stuck. I mean, you've studied that, you understand that, this is where I'm stuck. Well, all right, your body knows that, and you'll find what it is that'll help you get out of it. It's like, I had this patient for years. She and I worked with her shoulder pain, and she had her right shoulder she had pain in it, and we did all kinds of things, and it was like we couldn't get the answer for that. But then the one day she was just leaving from having had a session with me, and we had spent our time, and we hadn't found anything that we could change in what we were doing. But when she got up to leave, she turned around and we picked up her purse, and it was huge and it was heavy. And all this time we had not been seeing that that what the thing that was causing her shoulder pain was this heavy purse that she was carrying around all the time. And I mean, I had been working with her for several years trying to find out this thing. And once we were there, and we sat down and started laughing, and it was just, we could hardly move because we were laughing so hard at the stuff that it was that we had gone through trying to figure out what was there. So maybe there's some little thing that is kind of getting in the way of you're seeing what it is you're stuck in, but you're not seeing in what it is that can help change it. So that's what you need to be looking for, not the stuckness. You know all about that. What you don't know about is what it is that's going to move you out of the stuckness.
It's coming outside. It's like, opening your eyes that you're not within it, that you're outside of it. You talk about love being the most powerful medicine of all. And maybe I was just kind of looking at, and the ability, what that does. What do you mean that love is the most powerful medicine for us, for healing?
Well, within each one of us is a physician within us. And that physician within us is the one who really does the healing. It's like my eldest son, after he'd finished his training in orthopedic surgery, he came through Phoenix and he said to me, "Mom, I'm real scared. I'm going to go into the world. I'm going to have people's lives in my hands. I don't know if I can handle that." And I said, "Well, Carl, if you think you're the one who's doing the healing, you have a right to be scared. But if you can understand that it's your job to do the orthopedics, which you've learned, which is very important. I don't want a butcher doing me if I've gotten injured and stuff. I want a good orthopedic surgeon who knows what he's doing, who with love is going to reach to me, and the physician within me is going to listen to what he's saying, what you're saying as an orthopedic surgeon, and we're going to do that thing, and we're going to get well, because we have the essence, the medicine, the love in a way that we can understand it and begin to work with it. It's that whole process of looking for what it is that is going to help us move forward. And sometimes it's something completely unexpected. Sometimes it's something that we've been doing all the time and really haven't understood.
Somebody has difficulty loving themselves. How does a person move from that? If I was just reading all about love is the most powerful medicine, and then looking at, do I love myself? Is that's a starting point, right? Or
oh yes, you have to love yourself. Yeah. I mean, really, you are a loving person who loves other people and does things for other people. And sometimes, I'm just saying this, but maybe it's true that you put yourself on the back burner all the time. You do it for other people, but, well, I don't, you're not that important. Well, no. You're the most important person here. We have this crazy thing in our culture that is being egotistical or selfish or something, to think of ourselves as the most important person in our universe. Well, no, because if we don't understand it, how are we going to be we who can work with we in a person in a way that we can do the things that we need to do? We have to accept ourselves for who we are. I was 93 before I accepted the fact that my voice was important. I was so dyslexic, and still am dyslexic, but so dyslexic that I kept expecting if I wrote something, I'd ask somebody to check it for me. If I was going to give a speech, I asked somebody to help me go over this. It was that I did not accept my own voice. And you know what got me out of that? Have you? No, I was 93, and I pay attention to my dreams. They're very important to me. So all of a sudden I woke up one morning laughing and singing. And I thought, no, what's that? And part of the dream I was still in. And what I saw myself as 9-year-old Gladys coming out of the tent in the jungle where my parents were there working with the Indian people. And it was early morning, and I was pulling the tent flap back and looking out, making sure my brother wasn't there because he'd tattle on me and then I'd be in trouble. So he wasn't there. In our family, on the Sabbath morning, we weren't allowed to sing hymns or bhajan or anything but hymns or bhajans. And I thought that I'm 9 years old. I think that's a stupid rule, and I don't want to follow it, but I don't want to get caught either. So my brother's not there, and I run as fast as I can to the mango tree and climb up, clear up to the top. And I'm sitting up there, and I'm singing, boy, I'm singing any old thing that comes into my mind, and I'm just having a great time. And I look over my right shoulder, and on my right side, Jesus is up in the tree with me. This is my dream. And I look over and I say, oh, Jesus loves the little children, right? And he's really laughing, and he says yes. So I turn back, and I'm going back on my singing, and then I get to thinking, did he really say yes? And so I go back and I say to him, I'm still a little children, right? And he laughs a little harder, and he says yes. So I go back to my singing, and then I think, did he really say yes? And then I have to get that rechecked again, and I woke up. So it was a dream that when I woke up, I said to myself, for pity's sakes, if Jesus accepts you, you better accept yourself. And I started paying attention to not just my own dreams, but to what it was that I was saying and what it was that was important as I was talking to other people, as I was working with my patients and my children and the world around me. It was my voice was important. And so sometimes it takes a dream, sometimes it takes a friend telling us something, sometimes it takes ourselves just waking up and saying, oh, wow, that was great, But start looking for it. If you're not looking for what's pulling you out of it, you negate it.
Yeah, we have to. So the dream is interesting because you talk a lot about dreams, and I was fascinated by that. I've never paid attention to my dreams. And now from reading your book, I'm starting to do some of those exercises, asking, for dreams. Can you just talk a bit about that? The role of dreams.
Well, the first thing is to find out, to recognize within yourself how important your dreams are. They're a recording that goes on in your unconscious mind. And your unconscious mind is a very important part of who and what you are. And most of the time, we're not given the instruction or the information to pay attention to those. So that whole area of our life is kind of shifted aside, when in reality, it's a very, very important part. So if we accept the fact that These dreams are important. And, and if you have an issue that you're looking for an answer to, and when you go to sleep, you say, "Oh, all right, I would like to have a dream." And don't get discouraged if it doesn't come down immediately, because if it doesn't come immediately, you think, "Oh, well, I'm not one of the people who can do that." You are one of the people. Once you accept the fact that you can dream, you can get answers. And maybe if you think you can, ask your friends to dream for you. Ask your family to dream for you. Ask people around you to have a dream for you. I have spent time dreaming for my patients. If I have a patient who said, "Well, I can't," so I take that home with me and I dream for them. But there are ways of working with this, and if you start if you start looking for them, you will find them. But when you're not looking for them and you're stuck and you know you're stuck, but that's all you know, whoa, take another look,
Create that space. So it's just create the space.
Well, it's loving yourself enough to pay attention to who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Loving and thinking you're important enough to do the right thing. And sometimes you do the wrong thing and it seems wrong. Well, it's like I was coming home from my 99th birthday party, and I stopped at the grocery store, and I got the groceries I needed in the cart, and I was ready to pick them up and put them in my car. And an elderly gentleman came by, and he says, "Oh, may I help you?" And I said, No, I could do this myself. So he puffs himself up, and he says, "Well, I'm 86 years old." And I thought, I puffed myself up, and I said, "Well, I'm 99 years old," and I march off and take the crazy and stick them in my car and sit down and say to myself, "You nasty old woman. He was just a nice old man who was trying to do a nice thing. You better get out of this car and go in there and apologize and tell him how sorry." And so I'm just flagellating myself and punishing. And then I got to thinking, no, that was so funny. I mean, when you really think about it, 2 kindergarten kids in the sandbox fighting, that's the way we were. And I got to laughing so hard, I couldn't get out of the car. And I'm sitting in the car laughing at what was the picture of the comedy scene. And I think, add to that, he's going to go home and he's going to say to his wife, "There was a nasty old woman and I offered to help her and she, da-da-da-da, and they're going to really chastise me." And that, so the thing goes on, but it's not it's just downright funny. So when we can take some of these things and add humor to them, or just let them go that they're not important, we won't carry them and kind of punish ourselves for doing these things, which we all do, It's something that... Yeah.
So laughter is a great way to release things.
Oh. Well, I have these 5 L's that help me. The first 2 are life and love. It's like when we're pregnant. The baby and I are one being. Baby eats what I eat. Baby, things. But when that baby takes its first breath, it becomes a separate entity. So life and love get started together, and they are a unit. Life, they couldn't have gotten started if they hadn't been together. But together they get started. The third L is laughter. Laughter without love is cruel. It's mean. It breaks up families. It causes wars. It's terrible. But laughter with love is joy and happiness. And the fourth one is labor. Labor without love is drudgery. Oh man, I've got to go to work. Too many diapers. Life is too hard. And you drag yourself through it. But labor with love is bliss. It's why you do things that make you happy. It's why I'm doing this with you. It's the thing that is, yes, this is what's important. It's what allows you to move into that place of bliss. But it's the love that is the ingredient that does that. And the fifth one is listening. Listening with love is understanding. Listening without love is empty sound. So if you put these 5 L's in context with your life and see how they fit, it might help to give you it has helped me have some ground that I can feel I can stand on.
Sounds to me like a framework or yeah.
That's it. That's a good word.
Yeah. And I'm thinking when you're talking about love, I'm thinking, maybe some people I find more difficult to love. Others that I find easier to love. That,
Yes. Yes. Well, you may not have learned at your mother's knee, or you may if your child has been very hard childhood, or if you've been traumatized, and whatever it is, if there's a reason there that you don't accept, not accept, that doesn't seem important to you, that love would be the shining thing, then start looking for it. Because until you start looking for it, it's not going to be there.
But it's that I was reading in what you spoke about or wrote about was that for love, we don't have to love everything about everybody.
No.
That,
You just have to find something that at least you can say, well, he grows a nice garden. I mean, I have a friend in my community who is a person that, there are people who are difficult to love. They do things that are difficult to put into context. But if you can find in people like that something that they do, or that who they are, that you can appreciate, like this person I'm talking about, has the most beautiful garden. I mean, he can grow flowers, and they're just gorgeous. Well, sometimes it's a person who just, maybe the way they comb their hair is interesting. You find something that you can appreciate. You don't have to really love what that is, but if you can appreciate it, you can begin to let that person have a space in your life that is important. So I've found this person that has this nice garden a very nice place in my life. So it's looking for what it is. Maybe they always wear a nice shirt or something. I don't know. But you find something that you can appreciate. You don't have to love it to start with it. But when you begin to appreciate it and you begin to think, well, that's really nice.
Yeah. Does that come back to our life force? I've really become aware since reading your book of when I've given out about other people and thought, oh, look what he did or she did or whatever, how I don't feel so good.
Yeah.
That it feels like it's really more our problem. It's affecting our life force.
Yeah. We take it in and it's like I said, instead of just letting it go and say, Kuch Parvane, we take it in and we feel injured by it, or we feel traumatized by it, or it becomes our problem, not their problem. If we can just accept the fact that, well, that's his problem, and he has to live with it, or she, it's something that you just let it go, and it doesn't continue to bother you. But if it's sort of like, a mosquito that's flying around you and it continues to bother you.
Yeah, yeah. Is it that whole thing of we're all connected?
Yes, that's it. And what we put energy. Let me tell you a story, because I think this has relevance here. I had in our family, there was this wonderful friend who he used to come to us. He was a bachelor, and he would come to our house and we'd have dinner with, and the kids loved him, and he was just a good friend in the family. And then he moved into dementia, and he wasn't understanding things, and he couldn't do his work, and so we found him a place where he was well taken care of, and I would go to visit him, and he was all right. He was being taken care of, but he didn't know what was going on. So this one week I went to see him, and I took a little plant. It was in a little pot, little green plant, and I took it with me to him. And when I walked in the door, and I started talking to him about this plant and how it was going to love him, and I don't know what I was saying, and he was, as far as I knew, he wasn't taking anything in. He was just all over the place. But I just kept on going until I put the plant on the windowsill and gave it a little bit of water and stuff, and then I left. And a week later, when I came back, he met me at the door. He had never done this. He met me at the door, and he said, "Magic, magic." And I said, "What? What?" He says, he just worked his hand, and he said, "Box." And he walks over to the air conditioning box, and he points to one button, and he says, "Push button, everything is cool. Plant loves cool." He says, "Push button, everything gets hot. It gets so hot, plant doesn't love hot." And I thought, oh my goodness, how important is that? He had established a relationship with that plant that was feeding him in ways that I could never do. All these years I'd known him and I'd worked with him and so on, but this little green plant had the kind of energy that was able to give him the understanding in a way that I had not been able to do. So when we look for the things that actually work for us, or for somebody that we're concerned about, or whatever, it's amazing, and it's so exciting. I've been so excited by that little plant that I've been talking about it for a long time now.
Yeah, yeah. Just kind of a simple thing that's
Yes,
so powerful. That's that connection with nature. That's what strikes me.
right,
That man,
right.
that the two of them connected.
Yeah, and you don't know, at this point, it could be anything. It could be a picture that a friend has given you that makes you, it could be a song. It could be something very unexpected, but it could be a plant.
Reading your book, I was just so much about we've complicated life in modern life. You bring it right back
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
simplicity.
Right. Yeah.
And that,
You're absolutely right.
yeah.
Do you have children?
No, but I have lots of nieces and nephews, so lots of, yeah,
Yeah. Pay attention to them.
yeah,
The little people,
yeah.
they give us answers. You know, they really do. The songs that they sing and the things that they do. And the thing that they're reaching for. My number 4 child came in one day when he was 4 years old, and he says, "Mama, I know something." And I said, "What's that, Bobby?" He says, "If I make a friend and he makes a friend and he makes a friend, it's going to go all around the world and come back to me." Of course he's a psychologist. You know, he's works with other people on this whole process of making a friend that makes a friend. These kids, these little people that when you listen to who they are and what they are, and they'll tell you things that you. And my son, who is here with me, a retired Presbyterian minister, when he was 7, he came in and he said, "I wish Jesus was here." And I said, "Well, I do too, but why you?" He says, "Because I have questions." And I said, "Well, try me. Maybe I can help you." He says, "But you don't have any answers." I said, "Well, try me." So he says, "Okay, how can God be if he never got started?" I said, "Oh, well, maybe it's like a circle. It doesn't have a beginning or an end." He says, "I know you didn't have any answers." But he's a Presbyterian minister, you know. He spent his life looking for these answers. And it's been a joy to watch that path that he was taking. So I think if you have little people around you, pay attention to what they're saying. It's a really education.
They have the answers.
To hear.
The little ones
They,
have the answers.
Yeah. He knew I didn't have the answer, but he knew. So, that's...
When you're talking there, I'm just thinking, when we've made life so complicated, how our thoughts impact on our bodies. How, through our thinking today, we've complicated things. And the little ones don't complicate things. They have that simplicity. And,
Right.
What is that impact of our thoughts on our bodies and and how can we get past as adults?
Well, it's recognizing what we're doing, not condemning ourselves for it, because it's very easy to say, "Oh, well, that's bad. You shouldn't do that." Say, "Oh, well, maybe I could do that somehow differently, or maybe that's not important. Maybe it's a kuchpurwami. Maybe it doesn't matter, There's things, if something is keeping me stuck in a place, maybe I just need to put it on the shelf for a while, or maybe I need to put it in give it another, just reposition it, or actually let it go. Maybe it just needs to be let go of. We have kept it long enough to give it its own life, and it's we don't need it anymore.
Yeah. So it's being aware.
Yes, and it's being aware of what it is that is in the process of what it is that you're working towards, and helping you to create what it is that you're really looking for.
Okay. That self-awareness is a good starting point for everything, it sounds.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And loving ourselves enough to be actually able to accept it for what it is.
Yeah. Are they two key things, if people that are listening to this, would they be the two key things that you'd say? Loving ourselves and being aware of.
Oh, those two are pivotal. First accepting the fact that you do have a place in this universe, that it is like the big jigsaw puzzle. No other piece fits in the piece where you fit in. You're essential to the proper running of the universe because you have a place. If you've worked with a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle and you've gotten all the pieces in, but then that last piece isn't there, you drive yourself crazy trying to find that last piece because the puzzle isn't complete without it. So as we look for the place that we hold in this universe, see, this isn't any theology, it's just something that I think. I think when God created the universe, it was perfect. Everything was just exactly the way it was supposed to be. And then he created the human being. And he said to us, as human beings, you're the only being on this whole in this whole universe that has choice and free will. I now give you dominion over this gorgeous universe that I've created that's all perfect. And we, in our arrogance, took that to say dominance. And we've taken our universe and look what we've done with it. Well, I think it's time for us to look again and see and reclaim, because dominion means taking care of. Dominance means, oh boy, I got it. I can do what I want to with it, And so as we look at the way we're working with the world, and what I'm finding is I'm working with people all around the world, like having the opportunity to work with you. I mean, what a privilege is this? Having this opportunity. People are reaching back to their true humanity. I think that's what's beginning to happen. That's what I'm feeling is in the energy that is coming back to me, is that people want to be the true human that they know are part of the whole creation.
Yeah, which is wonderful. That move, there is a move there. I think you're so right. That's why I started this podcast.
Yes, really.
Is
yes. See what you can do.
Yeah.
What you're doing is taking this and making it real in your life so that it can grow in other people's lives. Here. Yeah.
I started
like
this
that little green
from love, because I had an injury to my brain, and I discovered some of the things that you spoke about through my own experience of listening to my body, of self-love, to recover. And that's the place that I've come from. So when I got your book, it was so exciting.
Yeah. Yes, it's good to hear what you have been thinking and have it put into words.
Yeah.
Because then we can share it with others.
Yeah, exactly. I was just so excited because I was like, this was my journey to recover, and you put it in a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that wonderful? And really, life is so exciting. You're in Ireland, aren't you?
Yes.
And I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. And it's hot here right now. It's 110 outside.
Whoa.
And may get up to 115. But it's hot outside. But I have an air-conditioned house, and so I'm comfortable here. And here I can talk to you in Ireland.
Yes.
Isn't that awesome?
It is, totally. you know, and it's cold and wet here in Ireland on the west coast.
Oh,
So we'll take some of your sunshine.
oh, I'll package it up and send it
Please,
to you.
please do, Gladys. Can I finish up on asking you your 10-year plan that you have?
Yes, I'm thinking about village for living medicine, where people come together in a village community and with the same ideals, the same purpose, the same love, the same commitment. And these people, they're beginning to form around the world. They're called blue zones. And they're places where their community has formed. And it's become a place where on this earth, the kind of thing that we really want to do, which is be friends and love other people and all that kind of thing, is being done and created. So I'd love to see that. My plan is to be aware enough of that ideal and thinking about it enough that other people can too. And when they find a place where that fits for them, they fit right in.
That sounds amazing. Maybe that's something we couldn't start thinking about in Ireland.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me know when it starts happening.
Will. We're in a beautiful village here on the west coast, so, you know, maybe that's something we can start thinking about here. It sounds amazing.
Oh, I love that. I can't go any place right now because I'm legally blind, and although my sight is gone, my insight has gotten better.
Yes.
And, you know, life goes on, and I have the opportunity to talk to you in Ireland. I mean, come on.
I'm totally honoured, and I just want to say how grateful I am that you came to talk to me on my podcast, Simply Holistic Living. And
thank you.
Yeah, and that's,
thank you.
It's just so, I was so passionate about your message, about getting your message out on my podcast.
Oh, great.
That's the reason why I started.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
I have so many takeaways from my conversation with Dr. Gladys. I'm going to go through my 12 takeaways briefly. First, if you're stuck, recognise the stuckness and then start looking for the way out. It'll come. In her book, I know she says, look for the trickle around the dam, and that's really struck a chord with me. Second, ask your friends for help. Surround yourself with friends that lift you up and give you joy. Third, love is the most powerful medicine within each of us. It's the physician doing the healing. Fourth, she talks about self-love being crucial. And I love her story of finding her voice at 93 through a dream. Fifth, recognising the importance of dreams. She says dreams are a recording in the unconscious mind. And she reminds us that when we go to sleep at night, just to say to ourselves, all right, I'd love to have a dream. Sixth, her 5 L's: life, love, laughter with love, labour with love, listening with love. This to me is a great framework for living, and I'm certainly going to take this on. My 7th takeaway is we don't have to love everything about everyone. Find something we can appreciate about that other person that we're having difficulty with. And my 8th takeaway is when she talks about when we give out about others, it's our problem because it affects our life force. And that's really struck a chord again with me. It's hands up, something that I do too often, maybe giving out about others or somebody else. But I'm certainly going to try to be much more aware of this, to find something I can appreciate about that other person. and connection. I love her story about bringing a plant to her friend with dementia and how he connected with the plant. Our connection with nature, our connection with each other. She says repeatedly to pay attention to the little children. I know when she asked me if I had children or grandchildren, she talks about this, the importance of having little ones around us and that they have all the answers, and I'm certainly going to pay more attention to the little ones in my life. Let go of negative thoughts. Let it go. It doesn't matter, she says. And she uses an Indian phrase that she learned growing up. I can't pronounce that, but just to put that negative thought in her hand and let it go and say to ourselves, it doesn't matter, and don't take that on. That really struck home to me. And finally, I'm going to finish with this. We all have a place in this world. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. If one piece is missing, the jigsaw can't be completed. So I will finish on that note. That's so inspiring that we all have a place in this world, to remember that each one of us is important in this world, is crucial in this world. Thanks for listening to this very special episode of the Series 3 of our podcast. This episode has been sponsored by Julie Clark Candles and Merview Natural Skincare.